Now is the time.
Forever? Tangent. Old.
Halt.
Hashtag always MGM.
You are approaching the unloading area.
Calm down. AK haters.
But what if it could? Behold, the
Disney
majesty of the
breeze.
Sistine Ceiling.
For the kids.
A salute to all theme parks, but mostly Walt Disney World.
Ha! What a cute ending.
Aloha and
Don't Dillo it.
This is Theme Park Thursday with Dillo's Diz. She is Jen.
Hello.
And I am Frank. And for the next 60 minutes, we have an epic discussion to be had. It will be epic.
It's going to be so epic.
It's going to be the most epic. But first, I have in my hand this, which was handed to me just prior to this recording.
Oh.
It is from the soon-to-be 8-year-old, which I'm confused now because the 7-year-old B and 9-year-old have code names. So now I'm confused about. We'll get to that another time.
Yeah.
Too much to talk about today.
Too much.
But 7-year-old A, who will be 8 in just about 2 weeks. Handed me this list because she has one of the, the old, not the old, it's not an old one. It's a more recent Birnbaum guide to Walt Disney World. I think it's like the kids version. Mama Dillo gave it to her, and as well as the other children recently. So she presented to me a list of the attractions she wishes to go on whenever the next time.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Let's hear it.
First, she hands me the list and says, Daddy, I'm sorry, there's only 2 from Hollywood Studios on here. Which I did not respond with hashtag always MGM, okay?
Right.
Okay?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
It's fine. I'm not gonna.
It's fine.
I don't need to that cause trauma.
Yeah.
So there's only 2 from Hollywood Studios on here. But I'll start with the Magic Kingdom and work my way down because I'll go in the order in which the parks came to be. Chronologically speaking, of course, like we do like to do here on Theme Park Thursday with Dillo's Diz.
Yeah.
Magic Kingdom. Number 1. I don't think they're in order of preference. I think she's just. I'm hoping she's just going in order. The magic carpets of Aladdin.
Sure. Your favorite?
Number 2, the soon-to-be Tiana ride.
Sure.
Which is written in here as Splash Mountain.
Yeah.
Number 3. Number 3. Thunder Mountain, which is her all-time favorite. So this is how I really know they're not in order.
Right.
Number 4, the Carousel.
Right.
Number 5, It's a Small World. Number 6, the 7 Dwarfs Mine Train, to which I respond, I'm not paying for Lightning Lane. And number 7, which she hasn't gotten to do yet because I think it's mostly been. She was there actually when she was 1. Obviously does not recall at this point. But Tales with Belle. She is intrigued by the concept of the Tales with Belle show. It's something she hasn't seen before, so she's intrigued by spending time with Belle.
Yeah.
What do you think of that list there?
No, that's pretty good. I mean, that's a well rounded list, I think. Mine Train, that's gonna be tough at this point if those wait times continue. I know you guys did it. I recall seeing you. Whose live did I see you on that day? Was that Chris's live?
I was on Chris's on Near to Your Magic. Yeah, that's right. where before we knew Chris and had him on the podcast, I was in the background. And I was like, oh, should I? I don't.
But yeah, that might be a tough. But otherwise, I mean, it's a pretty good list. I think to go on the carpets would be great content. So think of the content when you're there.
For the content, I think I have content of that we've never used. Maybe it's just me on there because I went on by myself.
That's right.
My first time back when the park was empty and it was glorious. Epcot.
Yeah.
Number 1, Spaceship Earth.
Sure.
Mainly because I think she doesn't remember Spaceship Earth. Is really what, as much as she was just there in Epcot the last time she was in Epcot was 3 years ago almost. Number 2, Talk with Crush, which I don't think she has done. 3, Soarin'. 4, Remy's Adventure, because she hasn't done that yet. 5, Three Caballeros. I think we can speak for all the children when they're huge Three Caballeros fans.
Big. We like to end the night with that ride typically at 9 o'clock when they're like so sleepy, but so happy to be on there.
Number 6, Test Track, and number 7, Frozen Ever After.
All right. Yeah. I mean, think if she's missing anything that I mean, in the book, you don't see the new Moana water
Right.
featured. She
Or
did not make any mention of visiting essential fountains. So, I mean,
right.
there's more work to be done there on your part. And
Guardians not in the book yet, so
right.
I don't think.
Figment, though, there's no Figment on that
No
list.
mention of Figment. Listen,
Oh, all right. I
if she
understand.
only knew what it used to be. Someday I got to show her a ride through of that one. I
Yeah.
forget, we were gonna watch a ride through of something recently. What was it? I'm not gonna remember. That's fine. And then just keep in mind, I did not ask for a list. I didn't know
Right.
she was working on a list. I have
Yep.
no prior knowledge of this list until it was placed in my hand before this recording.
Uh-huh.
Uh,
Sure.
Hollywood Studios. Number 1, Tower of Terror.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, Slinky Dog Dash.
Yeah. I thought that would have been her. Well, she's not going in order,
I don't
probably.
think she's going in order.
All right.
I want to point out that is where the list ends with those 3 parts. I didn't ask if she kept going, like if she
Maybe she stopped because she knew you were recording and she wanted to get you the list as soon
maybe.
as possible.
I mean, I feel like she also didn't get to Tomorrowland either, so I don't, because she loves Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor, so I'm
Yeah,
surprised that's
right.
not.
Yeah, that's true.
So I don't know the real reason why
Yeah.
Animal Kingdom is not there.
I mean, I think we all know why.
It's in the blood.
But that's a good list. It's a good one. And it's interesting she doesn't have a big connection to #AlwaysMGM, it seems, as of yet. Whereas, 7-year-old B, basically her entire birthday day that we're planning in our heads only consists of a day at the studios where she goes on Star Tour 7 times. So, I mean, and she wanted to go on everything 7 times. I was like, I think maybe we could do Star Tour 7 times. That's about it. But
I mean, she will point to Runaway Railway. We've had conversation about, great movie ride was the ride through. Now that I remember,
right,
so
right.
that's what because I was explaining that to her one day. So we still have to do that. But basically, Muppet Vision, it's about all these people think I'm talking to them, but I'm really talking to you. She hates this. She hates the
Same.
nose.
7-year-old B going crazy about the other day. No, I don't know if I want to go see it. First of all, they're all in on like a lot of the Muppet movies right now. They're all in on Muppets and Muppet movies and all the Muppets things on
She's
Disney
been
Plus.
binging Muppet Babies here
Yes.
for a month.
But 7-year-old B was like, no, but I hate that part. I'm like, all right, it's quick. It's a quick part. It's okay. The rest of it's good, right? But I understand because I was you. I too hated it, but I only thought I hated it because of Uncle Frankie, because he would do that to me. I don't say that part, but
Understandable. And then with Rise of the Resistance, it's the lightsaber coming through the roof of the car.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all it boils down to, is those two things.
Yeah.
Runaway Railway, as mentioned, it was the thing that chomps at the end, whatever the pressure
right. Yes.
thing.
Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm.
So it comes down to one thing will ruin
One
it.
little moment can ruin everything. Yeah. Yeah.
So we're here. We've pivoted a lot this week for various reasons of getting the podcast together this week, which was good because we got epic news yesterday.
That's right.
And we're going to get into that momentarily. But really, this is about 2 topics converging in our one channel Discord that's associated with DillosDizResort.com. That's our Patreon. Memberships beginning as low as $1 per month. That $1 per month gets you into that Discord. Our friend Jeffers, he presented a topic. But we thought of it as a topic. It was a question he had. And then we were like, a topic.
Yeah.
And really, it was more about, when I started going to the parks, it was just the Magic Kingdom.
Old.
And then when Jen, whose birthday was last weekend, when she started going to the parks, there were 2 parks. It was Magic Kingdom and EPCOT. And what Jeffers was curious about was what happened in our planning and our experiences when the 2 parks became the 3 parks with the Disney-MGM Studios.
Yeah.
So we're like, all right, I think that's something we probably can talk about for a good amount of time.
Yeah.
Then, with the announce of Epic Universe on Tuesday, it was like, well, now you have Universal Studios, you have Islands of Adventure, and you're going to have Epic Universe in 2025. Can we draw the same parallels? Can we try to get in the shoes of the droves of Universal Studios lovers out there, because they have been gushing. There's been
Yes.
so much gushing about
Yes.
Epic Universe for what is now
Ever?
36 hours, forever.
Yep.
36 hours as we're recording this on Theme Park Thursday Eve. And so it's like, okay, can we draw a comparison of how people are going to approach these things? And I'm going to say outright, one, I don't know all the specific details of where things fall in the geography of
Mm-hmm.
Road and Universal Boulevard
Mm-hmm.
and things there. Like, I don't know where everything is really. And
Yeah.
I-4 don't understand it yet myself. I need to examine it
How does it
more.
relate to the Best Western you like over there? We need the answers.
Listen, I love that Best I mean, it was a little dated from the last time I went, which was for Justin Montreal's birthday in 2022.
Mhm.
But that is my go. If I'm doing something Universal Studios based, I am going to stay at that Best Western. It has served me well for many
Mhm.
years. Behind the ale house, you can get some zingers at 1 a.m. Come on.
Hi, Anthony.
What's up there? So we are when we're talking about the geography, I don't quite understand. So that's part one.
Yeah.
The second part is, it's gonna be a bit of a disclaimer. I'm gonna give a
Okay.
disclaimer.
All right.
Uh how I talk about what we've learned so far, and the attractions and the lands and the expectations that are happening because of this presentation. I am hype that everyone is hype.
Uh-huh.
Uh, but when I go and talk about this for the next 45 minutes, I'm not angry. I'm not being critical. I I am going to be presenting this from I think I've lived through this before,
Mhm.
historical standpoint. And I think that it's important, if you're checking us out, if you're listening in for the first time, welcome.
Yeah.
Don't run away after this episode. But I was a former cast member at Walt Disney World in the 90s, and I was a former Universal. Did they call them team members or not back then? I don't know. In the late 90s, so
Mhm.
there's some. I want to use my experience. Things can change over time. It's not going to be the same way this time around. I understand. I'm just going to present similar experiences that I've had and compare them to what everyone is experiencing right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's fair. I think it's a hilarious disclaimer, and as you set it up, I think it sounds a lot like something we would set up when talking about Animal Kingdom. And so I fear that people would hear this and go, "Oh, they're Universal haters." And we're not. We are not. So I think the disclaimer is good. I think you'll be able to thread the not thread the needle. What do I want to say? Yeah,
Create a through
follow
line.
the ribbon of
Sure.
history, and yeah, I think it'll be fine.
And I think, that's a good point to start at, is with, we're not Universal haters, right? Because when
Yeah,
we talk about DCLDuo Studios and that becoming the third park, and I've said it on other podcasts before, play other people podcasts. I don't know where I've said it at this point. I've said it many times.
yeah,
Disney-MGM Studios hit at the right time for me. I was 14 going on 15. All I did was go to the movies basically every week. That's all I did. So the idea of the movies being brought into theme parks was like, well, there you go.
mhm,
Like, that's what else is there? Like, that's my everything right now. I like going to Disney World. I like movies. Hello. And that was a big deal. And with that, perhaps not to the level, was the idea of Universal Studios opening the following year.
mhm,
And so together, the idea of having two theme parks based on the movies
yeah,
in the same location for an extended vacation for us because we started going to Florida in the summer, starting in the summer of 1990. Like that was a huge deal.
Yeah. Yeah. Jeffers, Jen's last time in Universal was in the mid 2000s. Jeffers, it sure was. Sure.
that is the correct the time period.
Yep. Anyway, yes, and I think for us, we were big TV kids. We really enjoyed TV and movies growing up, and so having #alwaysMGM and Universal and them being places that now are only theme park related now, which is something we loved and our family vacation every year, but now you have the addition to it that they filmed real stuff here. Like, oh my
Right.
god, this is so amazing. This is like I feel like I'm in a film studio for real. And that's what they were going for. And that's what they were also doing. And it was like this double-sided thing of theme park. But I could also maybe catch a glimpse of something happening or someone walking by. And it added to the excitement of it all.
So that was that was both a big deal. And I know especially the first visit we ever had to Universal Studios, and Jen, I don't know if you remember this, but it was a combination of ride related issues and weather that we ended up getting a pass to return at any point in our lives.
Yeah.
And so that's what happened in the summer of 1990, which then led to a second trip. I don't think it was enough to convince Mama and Papa Dillo to make it a regular thing, but we enjoyed the park and we enjoyed the
Yeah.
attractions, and you see them get posted from time to time, little nostalgia pics on the Twitter. Loved those billboards. The billboards were amazing. The ET billboard, the Kong billboard, everything. But at the end of the day, and this led to Jeffrey's other question in our one channel Discord, was about how did we start to manage our trips based on ticket availability. And Jen looked it up a little bit. And I sort of remembered that at some point, the passport, the world passport became a thing, right? What do you have over?
I do have one world passport, but it does not include MGM on this one. But this was the 4-day world passport from 1985. So this is only Magic Kingdom and EPCOT. That's what they look like there. 4 days, and then you just stamp them where every time you went, and probably stamp your hand that you could only see in the lighting at the end of all the rides. They would have that special lighting so that your hand would glow.
Oh yeah.
And if anyone wants to put in the chat how much they think this ticket was for 4 days, feel free, and I'll hold on that for a little bit. But yeah, but I think over the years they've kind of changed where they didn't call it a park hopper, but basically you could get tickets for all of the parks.
Yeah, and so when it came to, and we talked about this for a while in those days of the two park passport, we were staying at the Polynesian, which I made sense because of what was available hotel wise. So you went to the Magic Kingdom during the day. I don't know what happened at the midday point, probably after the 3:00 parade. What time's that parade at? What time was it? We would, kind of pivot to spending the evenings at EPCOT, and whether we had dinner there, Stargate at Communicore, often so good. Whatever it was, that was just usually our routine. Shocker that we probably repeated the same thing 1,000 times in those mid 80s
Very
before
surprising.
Disney-MGM Studios opened. When we, I think when the first 2 times probably went to Disney-MGM Studios, that I don't think the Beach Club was open yet. And so there was still, it was kind of a feeling out period.
Yeah.
But I think what ended up happening, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Jen, is that we ended up loving Disney-MGM Studios so much that, and the first time that we stayed at the Beach Club, it became a no-brainer to sort of keep our time between Disney-MGM Studios on the Friendship Boat and EPCOT, which you could just walk over the bridge to. I'm going to pause here because there are some guesses for how much that 2-park world passport cost in 1985.
Yeah, so we have a $29, $34.25, $50. I mean,
$1,
you guys
Bob.
do you know how much it was?
I don't. I Lewis said the 34.25. I mean, I know that one day was $45 in that late 90s. So I think it's closest to Lewis without going over.
This ticket right here, $43,
Yeah.
sales tax included.
Well, there
There you
you
go.
go.
What a deal. Also, just as a side note, this is also from 1985 in February, 3 nights at the Polynesian. If y'all would like to guess how much one night at the Polynesian was in 1985, we can put those in the chat as well.
Oh gosh.
But no, I agree with you that because I think also Mama and Papa Dillo also TV and movie people. So
Right.
this I think it also came at the right time because we had been going every year. It added something new for all of us. The live entertainment aspect was something we all enjoyed, Streetmosphere and Indiana Jones, and that whole aspect is something that we could all get on board with. You add in eventually the beach club, you add in the friendship boats. You got a boat, Papadillo's there. I mean, so I think all of those things combined did end up shifting us where I think Jeffers had also asked, like, how many times did we go before MGM and how many after? I mean, most of the trips were after, I would say, because that's when we
Right.
also started to go 2 times a year, and then you moved down there, and so, everything's sort of increased from there.
And I think, and obviously it felt like this, I will say. I'm not sure if it's entirely accurate, but in those times that we stayed at the beach club in the early 90s, and
Mhm.
so talking about from December 1990 through when I moved down there, I would say that we did not go to the Magic Kingdom as much. And I would venture to say when we did go to the Magic Kingdom, we went at night because we both love Spectro Magic so much,
Mhm.
and Splash Mountain at night was a shorter wait. That would become new in 1992
Yep.
than it was during the day. So I feel like those two factors, it might have equaled out in the end, but
Yeah.
I would say it felt like we spent less time at the Magic Kingdom because we were a little further away.
Yeah. Oh, I think definitely, and because a lot of our trips were longer in the summer, we did incorporate those afternoons of chilling out where it was a vacation. It wasn't just go, go, go the whole time. So we would go back to the beach club, hang out at the pool, sleep, whatever, and like start anew by 5 o'clock or so and go somewhere else at night. But yeah, the fact that we could just walk to Epcot or boat to MGM, I do think we started pulling back a little bit from Magic Kingdom and probably even from Epcot. I feel like
Mm,
studios we spent the most time in
yeah, well,
out
because
of
I was a
all of
Citizens
them.
of Hollywood nerd, that's why.
Yeah. Yes,
Mhm.
that's true. Okay, so for the, Polynesian, I see 60 a night, I see 45. It was more at
Hmm,
$110, wait,
hmm.
at
Was that
per
that's not
night?
is that per
No, no,
night
it
or
is,
is
yeah.
that
It is because it was $330 total, then there's tax and all of that. Oh, and then there's a long distance telephone charge, so you got that. And,
How's the dog? Dog okay?
South Seas dining room and some other things on this bill, but, yeah, man, can you imagine? I would be booking trips left and right if the Polynesian was $110 a night. Oh my
That's
god,
that's so bad.
be so dangerous.
Lewis is questioning the fact that we're
Mm,
resting on Walt Disney World vacations.
I know.
Lewis, I walked you to the quiet pool at the beach club in September on our Dillo's Diz meetup.
Yeah.
Were you not convinced? Were you not won over? I mean, it's glorious.
This is where you end up by noon. Now, you know what? Let's give it even a little bit later because you can go get a cheeseburger and milkshake at
Hmm.
beaches,
Hmm.
and then you go in the pool for a couple
Hmm.
of hours, and then you snooze, and then boom, you're up and ready to go for the rest of the night.
Trying to make a 5:20 p.m. Citizens of Hollywood set on Hollywood Boulevard by the French boat.
Yeah.
That's how it went. So yeah, I would say after those first couple of times at Universal Studios, we kind of stuck to
Mm-hmm.
the immediate surroundings on
Yeah.
Walt Disney World property. But I will say that when I moved down in August of 1995, so I would have to look up the official announce. But as a cast member at Walt Disney World, with another theme park in the Animal Kingdom opening up 3 years after that, the buzz in Orlando, I'm not going to say in Disney, it wasn't really that
Mm-hmm.
way. The buzz about the next
Mm-hmm.
big thing was not the Animal Kingdom, it
Mm-hmm.
was Islands of Adventure.
Yeah.
And the excitement and the what was being presented and what we were learning about Islands of Adventure in Orlando, in Central Florida, during those mid
Mm-hmm.
to late 90s. Right now, what people are feeling is how people felt in the mid to late 90s.
Yeah.
And the idea of a Marvel superhero island, that was immersive, and Jurassic Park, which was still a huge deal, even if the Lost World didn't do so well compared to the original, people were like, "What? Jurassic Park? Yes, please." And then Seuss, they were making a huge deal out of Seuss. The idea of a Cat in a Hat ride, all the characters that you were familiar with. And that's before they even thought of doing the Grinchmas kind of stuff. That
Mm-hmm.
wasn't on their radar at that time, but that was a big deal. And they were pushing and they were pushing and they were pushing it, and people were excited about it. Now, I was a tour guide when it opened in
Mm-hmm.
spring of 1999, and everything about it was super cool. Spider-Man, awesome ride. Hulk, awesome ride. The Jurassic Park stuff was cool. Poseidon's Fury was cool. I don't think Toon Lagoon met their expectations and still continues to not do that, but the theming was cool, and the Lost Continent similarly, I don't think got there. But as cool as everything was, this is a personal opinion, it felt like the excitement in the area came down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And whether the expectations were not Dilloed properly, it's up
Mm-hmm.
for debate,
Yeah.
person to person to person. Obviously, people were super excited to have thrill rides to this extent
Yeah.
in Central Florida. But I think more people, to me, who I talked to, were more excited for Islands of Adventure than they were for Animal Kingdom, which probably also didn't help my feelings
Mm-hmm.
about Animal Kingdom to this day.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the hype was there in the same way that it was for Islands of Adventure. And as a result, I feel like, and now, is it unfair probably to say, well, if you go from mid 1999 to September 2001,
Mm-hmm.
after that September 2001, a little unpredictable, and
Mm-hmm.
a lot of things happened with theme parks. So, but even in that year and a half, I don't think that it sustained. It rolled through, and everyone can argue with me and tell me I'm wrong, but and I'm open to those discussions. But definitely, personally, that's how it felt. That's how the energy felt around me.
Yeah. Um, and it's interesting, and it's such a crazy time once again, because now you were seeing that, you were feeling that, you were hearing it, probably reading in the Orlando Sentinel and what have you. And
Hmm.
now, because of social media,
Hmm.
it's just even crazier now, of course.
It's
Um,
exponential, yeah.
yeah. I think, I also in our one channel Discord, our friend Adam, where is Adam? We're waiting on him as
Yeah.
always.
Hmm.
He had dropped in from Retro WDW on YouTube their video of the opening of MGM Studios back in the day.
Hmm.
And so I was watching a little bit of that, and I have recently come across some of our old VHS tapes of, some of the parades and some of the specials and all that we were also working on trying to get onto our YouTube. But the fact that all of this existed, where they put on this hour or 2-hour special on
Right.
ABC, and you had Michael Eisner, and you had the president sometimes, and you
Hmm.
had of the United States.
Right.
And you had all these celebrities participating in musical numbers and little funny bits here and there and whatever it was. And all the families in America were just sitting around their TV going, "Oh my goodness, look how amazing this is. Look at this
Right.
amazing Indiana Jones stunt spectacular. I can't wait to go see that." It was the longest
Mhm.
commercial ever because it just promoted everything you could do and see in Disney, down to having your pictures taken like we have in the Roger Rabbit car and all of that with I am totally blanking on their name, and I apologize if you're listening to this, but they were triplets, and one of them was on Saved by the Bell, a Tori.
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
And I'm like blanking, but
Gotcha.
they were on and they were doing some of those pictures with Dick Van Dyke, like you do, and all the things. But watching also some of the older footage of MGM, and I took note that Michael Eisner said that it's not so much a theme park as a state of mind, a
Mhm.
Hollywood that never was and will always be. Um, and just walking around like the New York streets and walking around just a quiet MGM because it was not officially open yet and all these things. And I was thinking about the simplicity back then of the parks, and we have talked a lot about that we
Mhm.
are big on our pockets around the parks and being able to just stop and look around and stop and take it in. And I think it is because as we were growing up we did kind of take our time with it. We didn't have things like lightning lane and all that. Not even we predated fast passes and all of
Mhm.
that, so we were able to enjoy that. I'm thankful for that because it also reminds me to continue to do that even in the world of crazy that it is now, which not everyone has the privilege of doing, and I understand that. But it also started to make me think that because of the instant gratification and everyone being so accessible now, whether it's through your work because your work can contact you at any time of the day, and
Mhm.
you have email and you have social media and you have this and you have this, it's so much harder to escape now like it was back then. You could
Right.
really shut off and go to Disney for a week with your family, and you weren't talking to your boss at the office or wherever it was for that
Right.
time. And I was wondering if maybe some of the expectations of all the new things coming in whatever theme parks they are, I feel like the expectations are so high because is it just so much harder to escape now that you need the big, the colorful, the crazy, and it has to be bigger and better than this last thing was, and it has to do this, and it's like just so much where,
Mhm.
then to see something like that 7-minute video of Epic
Mhm.
today, which I, was very looks very cool, but then to go after that and watch this, 1989 video of MGM
Mhm.
Studios, it's just like those simple days are just done. And those New York streets were immersive to us because we're like,
Right.
look how cool this is.
Yeah.
It's just the most basic setup ever. Um, I don't really know where I'm going with that, but I am wondering if, you know, the expectations have to be that high and the instant gratification has to be that because everyone is so quick to call things failures or success as soon as they
Mhm.
see a picture of something or hear about a movie. Oh, that bombed at the box office. Oh, well, that's going to be a failure. Oh, I heard they're not projecting as much money for this park as they thought they would. What?
Right.
Everyone calm down. Where's my t-shirt? And just relax and enjoy what's happening. It's a crazy time. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if we have to go that far into the 7-minute hype video, which
Yeah.
was expertly done and
Yeah.
I think very unique for Universal Studios. It's not something I feel like we've seen from them too many times. So to watch it was fascinating, and I think your point is spot on of like these expectations that we're feeling. I think listen, there was years of hype for Galaxy's Edge. It did not meet the hype. I'm here to say it. I love it more than anything in the world, and I will spend as much time as humanly possible in there. But in the world,
Mhm.
much like Islands of Adventure, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge has not met the hype.
Yeah.
For
Yep.
whatever reasons they are, whether the expectations were too high. Like, I was on this podcast like the first until Justin and Landon invited me to go for opening day. I was like, I'm not going near that place for
Yeah.
6 months because it's gonna be crazy town.
Yeah.
Like, no
I
way.
was thinking of you today with that because so many people are like, "Oh man, it's gonna be so hard to get near Epic anytime soon." I'm like, "Oh, that's what we said about Galaxy's Adventure so
Hmm.
long." Yeah.
Yeah, if you would have told me I would have been in Galaxy's Edge twice within the first 6 months on 2 separate occasions, and on Rise of the Resistance within the first month of and a half, or any of that, like,
Mhm.
I'd be like, now you're crazy. That's not
Yeah.
gonna happen.
Yeah.
And so, similarly, but I do think, our as much as we tell everybody here to dillo your expectations. Look, we're not here to like squash your hype. We're not
Yeah.
here to rob your joy. Like,
Yeah.
I'm hyped that you're hype. I want your hype to be exceeded.
Yes.
And that's what we all wait for here. And so, with the reveal and the lands that are
Mhm.
being discussed, where do you want to even start? I mean, I'll start briefly because
Yeah.
I think the best thing they said in that 7-minute video was, and the thing that I think sold it the best of anyone
Mhm.
talking about, oh, now everyone's gonna do just a Universal Studios vacation. Oh, now
Mhm.
you can have a
Mhm.
longer. The best thing that was said in that video was that now you have a trilogy of Harry Potter with the 3 different areas. And when they
Mhm.
said that, and they hooked me with trilogy, and I was like, oh, and now granted, we just finished the 7th book over the
Mhm.
weekend, so I'm in a very Harry Potter place.
Right. Yeah.
But the fact that they phrased it that way, I was like, now you got me. Now you got me with, oh, you're gonna have your own little trilogy
Mhm.
and your own trilogy of Harry Potter experiences. I was like, okay, I'm here. I'm in the Ministry of Magic. I'm here for it. You're not going to tell me what the interaction actually is going to be. I'm not here to speculate yet, and I don't know what the rumors are, so I don't want to sound silly.
Yeah.
But that I thought that was not even the hook of the attraction. We're not going to tell you about the attraction yet.
Yeah.
The fact that it's a trilogy of experiences, I thought was expertly said and written.
Yeah. And how do you not have such a success on your hands as your Harry Potter land that everyone continues to talk about years after it's been created? And
Mhm,
it's super immersive and it
mhm,
really brings you into the story. And
mhm,
I mean, it looks amazing to me, and I literally have 0 connection to Harry Potter at this point in my life. So but I could recognize how great it seems and looks, and so
right,
how do you not build on that if you're building another park? You
mhm,
have to. You have to
mhm,
go down that route. I thought also incorporating horror is
mhm.
which is a very difficult thing for a Long Islander to say, just that word,
Horror,
not talking
horror.
about it.
I mean, we might have to take it to the Patreon to talk about,
Right.
why we say one word one way and why we say
Right.
horror a different way.
Hara. The Hara, it's so great that they incorporated the Hara. But because that also is something that has grown over the years for Universal,
Mhm,
has brought in this massive audience
mhm,
for the last couple of decades at this point. Um, and has gotten better every year and they've done more every year and they've pushed the envelope more. How do you also not incorporate that then into your newest park? You have to then go all in on it. And I
mhm.
hope they do go all in on it in that land, which I think they will. And I think that was a great idea to do too. And
Yeah.
not something I hadn't really thought about what all of their experiences would be, but I thought that was a great idea, and I like the idea that they're talking about these portals that are,
Mhm,
I like that idea. Just
mhm.
saying that of like there are these portals and they take you into these new lands.
Yeah,
Cool. I want to see what
yeah.
that looks like.
I think that's a good point, and with the they obviously didn't take my advice with the Hill Valley
No, they
land
did
for Back
not.
to the Future, or the baseball field for
Mm,
Field of Dreams games. I don't know why that's a Universal movie.
We would have been there on day 1.
But you want to go?
You want to go?
You want to go?
We'll go.
Who they got going? Who's appearing?
Costner
No,
going?
I mean, if anything we learned from the Avengers movies is we love a good portal, and yeah,
I
I
don't
think
know
that's
what that
great.
means.
Jen, I've been looking through old content recently,
Uh-huh.
and there was a stream where Jen is like, I gotta start watching those Marvel movies, and I was like, oh, is this from like early last year? And it was 2021.
I was gonna say, nope, it's about 4 years old.
I was like, oh, Jen still
Yeah.
year 4, not with the Marvel movies at
It's
all.
not Christmas season anymore. I have no excuse.
What are your thoughts on the How I Trained My Dragon franchise?
I thought it was an
Is it how I or how
interesting
do? Did I say it wrong? Is it how to before you
how
start
to?
talking?
How
Right.
to?
Yeah,
I
how
don't know
to? How to
what did
train
you
your
say?
dragon? Did I say how I?
How do you
How I
train that
trained my
dragon, huh?
let me tell you how I trained my dragon. That's inappropriate right there. So how to train your dragon.
Moving on. I thought it was an interesting choice. That one took me by surprise a little bit. I recall there being a brief, very brief moment in time in this house where we were into one of the movies.
Hmm.
And did also have a stuffed animal. The what? Sorry, what is the dragon's name? I forget. We had that stuffed
Toothless.
animal around.
Toothless?
Yes.
Yeah.
We had Toothless around here. Um, I to me, it's one of those movies maybe like Zootopia. I don't
Hmm.
realize what a draw Zootopia has to a lot
Right.
of people.
Hmm.
And so I think How to Train Your Dragon might be under that same umbrella of, oh wow, I mean, you're making a whole land for it. It's gotta be a big deal
Yeah.
somewhere. So I don't know enough. I'm not saying it was a bad choice by any means, because if there's an audience for it, go for it. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's spot on too. Is
Yeah.
that I would love to see the surveys and the
Mhm.
responses to what people thought about the ideas of that kind of themed experience. I'm here to say, I think even before I saw the movie, I'm just looking forward to sitting in that land and listening
Mm.
to the background music, because the first movie soundtrack by John Powell is some of the best movie music you'll ever hear in your life. I'm here to cry
Mhm.
for it all the time.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah, I
good.
think I saw someone on Twitter mention that, like, one of the songs was their wedding dance
Oh,
or
oh,
something,
interesting.
so I'm like, "Oh, see,
Well,
there
I could
is
see
so
that.
there's an audience, there's,
Right.
people feel a draw to these movies."
Yeah, and I've only seen the first one. I don't think I've seen
Yeah.
the other two. But yeah, I like I said, I think dragons are always a good draw.
Yeah.
So that is that, and I know you want to talk. I'm not a video game person really. You have some video game stuff in your home,
Mhm.
a small modicum of a video game stuff.
Yeah.
So you want to talk a little bit about Super Nintendo World?
Yeah, I mean, I think, that will at this moment in time, will probably be our biggest draw in the house, because we know it exists elsewhere, but it's nice it'll exist a little more, a little closer to us than
Yeah.
across, the country, but, that land also looks cool and fun, and I think that will help bring in a lot of I mean, first of all, Mario spans generations at this point, so it's
Hmm.
not, I'm not trying to, discredit that by any means, and Mario movie was huge and, recently and all of it. So it's is something that can bring adults and kids together, so I think that one makes a lot of sense. I just think it also might help to bring in little ones a little more. I think sometimes with Universal and their parks, there is always the concern, or at least the assumed concern, that, well, what are my kids going to do? They're like 5 and under. Is there
Hmm.
really anything? Because there's coasters and there's these bigger
Hmm.
rides, and
Hmm.
sometimes people just don't know enough. They didn't know Seuss Land, they
Right.
they don't.
Right.
Um, and I kind of feel like how Super Nintendo World looks is more colorful and fun and bright, and maybe they'll have more to kind of tip the scales towards the younger side a little bit more. So
Yeah, I think that's definitely a draw for the kids more than Seuss was, more than Toon Lagoon was, more than
mhm,
anything in the original park was. I want to make mention of, because it, again, I read it quick and then I gotta go back and read it, and so I'm going to share the screen on the IGN article that talks about Celestial
mm,
Park. And in this article, it's so much more than just a gateway. And this is like something I really remember about Islands of Adventure opening is the excitement, similarly to like a Main Street USA, of how excited they were about Port of Entry. I love
mhm,
Port of Entry.
mhm,
I love the lighthouse. I love the background music in Port of Entry. I really love it. But I just remember the hype that went
mhm,
into Port of Entry. So I feel like this is almost an internal response by putting out that Celestial Park is so much more than just a gateway. While these worlds inspired by beloved properties will be the big ticket items, Celestial Park is so much more than just a gateway to other lands. Thrill seekers will be delighted to know that Starfall Racers will be one of the star attractions of this world. This dual launch rolling coaster, it's not Dueling Dragons, everyone. It's a dual launch racing coaster. Will see two groups of guests racing at speeds of up to 62 miles an hour and heights up to 133 feet along 5,000 feet of track. So right then and there, I think that's a great choice to go, you know what? We're going to put something cool right up front.
mhm, mhm.
And I think that's a really smart play and different. It feels different. Um, I don't know if I went through the restaurant yet, but here we are. Um, but I just think that's a really a nice spin, so to speak, on that kind of uh, entry to the park.
Mhm. Yeah. No, I like that. I like it.
I
Um,
did I did, Val, see the cool, miniature gate they sent to influencers. Jen hasn't been to the PO box since then.
oh, I have to get what I was there actually
Jen,
on
there's no gift from Universal Studios in our PO
I
box.
yeah, there no, there might be though, because I haven't been there since last Friday, so there might be something in there. Um, obviously, we have it there's a bump.
Obviously.
Um, if I may,
Yes.
can I rant a little bit?
Oh, you gonna rant? We're definitely not getting invited to the media event, it's
No,
fine.
no, 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 not rant against Universal.
Oh, okay.
Maybe a little bit, but not big. 'Kay. Uh, when I was a cast member in the mid-2000s, in the early
OPP.
um, I, one of my pet peeves about Universal, and I've said this before, is that I never enjoyed their advertising because their advertising was always, "Let's put down Disney in order to build ourselves up," and I always felt as Universal, you be you, do what you do, bring in your audience, and stop having to feel like you put down other parks in order to make yourselves look better. Just do what you do.
Mhm,
People like you. It's okay. You
mhm,
just be confident in that. To build on that, obviously, news like this in 2024 is going to bring everyone's opinion to the surface on the social medias.
mhm,
And by all means, y'all have the right. Y'all, we're doing it. Look at us. We're sitting here. This is us. We're doing
mhm.
the same thing. It's fine. Here's what I don't want. I don't want the Disney should be worried. They should be so worried. I don't want the what do you think Disney's gonna do? Well, I don't think can everyone this is great news for Universal. This is very exciting. Let Universal have their moment. Let them enjoy this. Let all the Universal fans that are Universal adults and Universal families and Universal kids, just like we call ourselves Disney adults, let them all have this enjoyment and this fun. And we don't need to rain on the parade. We don't need to start comparing either. Let everyone have their thing. Let everyone like what they want to like. Let everyone enjoy what they want to enjoy and stop with the
Mhm, mhm,
well, isn't it? Well, this is probably gonna and I'm sure as we get closer and more images start to be released and things start to be built, you'll start hearing just like we did with Galaxy's Edge. Oh, that doesn't look as good as that. Just stop. Everyone just relax and do it and just enjoy it. And you don't have to, nobody has to put down anything or anyone else in order to make themselves or their things look better. That's all.
So I'm a Star Wars fan, right? And
Yep.
so a lot of my Twitter scrolling is often, I hate this and this one's the best, or I hate that, but this one is the best. So
Mm-hmm.
there's that. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm a wrestling fan. So if it's a WWE, I hate this, or it's AEW fans going, I hate that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm this is a constant in my life. I feel where theme parks and wrestling and movies and in the
Fandoms.
same franchise, like
Mm-hmm.
it is the same. The extreme reaction
Mm-hmm.
to things, and I'm just gonna say that prior to us starting the podcast in 2018,
Mm-hmm.
in the months from when Jen and I talked about the Great Movie Ride on the Improviser's Guide podcast to when we finally launched the podcast, and on Theme Park Thursday of the Improviser's Guide podcast 1 week ago, six whatever year that was, 2018,
What is
and
time?
what is time? And you know, the things that like I was like, all right, I don't know whatever other people are talking about. Jen didn't know there was Disney podcast, but I
Mm-hmm.
was aware, so I
Mm-hmm.
would listen to whatever was out there. And the thing that seemed most consistent during that time period was people complaining about the crowds at Disney,
Mm-hmm.
and Disney's gonna have a master plan to weed out those crowds. And now at the time, I think it was raising the prices, which
Mm-hmm.
we've seen. I don't think anyone anticipated March of 2020. So
Mm-hmm.
that was a serendipitous way of helping out what Disney was probably planning. That's not a nice way to say that, but here we are.
Mm-hmm.
And then, how people have started to feel about Disney for whatever many reasons. Da, 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 yeah, there are out there that has also not phased them and
Mm-hmm.
hasn't affected them.
Yeah.
Their plan was to have less people in the parks. The prices are going up
Mm-hmm.
for all maybe the wrong reasons, because they lost money, they lost income, they're losing money out of whatever the reason.
Mm-hmm.
Their plan about theme parks that was talked about in 2017
Mm-hmm.
is in place. And so the idea that, oh, Disney better watch out, because I'm sure Disney was like, well, we'll have the other theme park open up too. So then we can
Mm-hmm.
raise the prices again, and
Mm-hmm.
people will still go. We'll have the people we want. We're still making the same thing. Maybe we have less cast members or whatever. Maybe not. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
It isn't going to impact them. It's not.
And ultimately that's how I feel as well. Even
Yeah.
because one, everyone stop it. But also Disney is not worried, and they're not going to worry, and no money will be taken away from Disney because of this. And if it changes and if it happens, I'll come back on here and be like, well, guess I was wrong about that. And we'll pull this clip and I'll show it and I'll be like, I didn't know what I was talking about clearly. But as of now, it's fine. They're fine. It's all fine.
Yeah. I mean, and we wish everyone success, and we wish everyone their hype and joy
Yes.
as they go to their respective theme parks. I hope for just joy aplenty washing over you every single day,
Yes.
like the Helios. Is that the sun? That's the name of the hotel. Is that the sun? I should know my Greek mythology better because
Yeah.
of my child.
Yeah.
And Lewis is here to say, isn't that basically what wrestling is? Trying to get people to hate and love. Are you telling me that everyone on Twitter is actually a wrestler? And they're just like, I'm gonna heel on this a lot so that you boo this, and then
I mean, everything is wrestling, no?
everything is wrestling, isn't it? Isn't it? Just much like the Super Bowl that hopefully we'll have a third annual anthem for.
That's right. Yeah. We might have to do like some sort of pre Super Bowl show with the 9-year-old. Maybe I'll have to get some questions for him and get some predictions and what have you.
He's not happy about the Chiefs, so he's clearly
No.
rooting for the 49ers.
Yes. Yes.
I'm just saying that the Lions, they I was pulling for a Lions
Yeah, and because you had said that, and originally he was, and I forgot what changed him
He loves that Christian McCaffrey.
on the. No, why? I forget why the 49ers, why he flipped on that, but yeah. But he also, I think originally the Lions, because he was trying to root for the underdog. He loves a good underdog story.
Right.
So,
yeah.
But
Yeah, so that'll be. I mean, we got the bye, the in between week here for the Super Bowl, and then we'll see what we can put together for next week. I'm trying to think if there's anything I left out of. I think we hit everything in the Epic universe to discuss. We didn't talk about the hotel or what may come of it, but I think in the overall. I'm hyped for the hype, but I have lived through the hype, so I want everyone to keep that hype going all the way through 2025 and into 2026 when you've been there.
Yes.
So that's my hope. That's my expectation. And like I said, it's if that's going to be your joy and you got 3 parks now to do it in, please do.
Yeah.
Because that is, it's going to be epic. It's going to be an epic 12 to 18 months or so, because we're going to be talking about it a lot.
There'll be plenty more for us to talk about along the way.
Thanks for everyone who's been watching along the way, or if you're watching on the replay, this live stream that we're doing will be dropped into the audio feed. So if you're listening on the audio feed, make sure to leave us a 5-star review. We haven't been asking for those things lately.
Yeah.
We kind of should. And if you like what you hear, please tell your friends. Tell everyone you know that we're here every theme park Thursday, or sometimes on theme park Thursday Eve. I'm stalling a lot because I feel like I have something to say at the end, but I don't know if it's really there or not. Jen, do you have anything to add before we wrap?
Well, now I'm intrigued at this thing that you might have. I don't know what you're saying.
I do. I don't know what to say.
No, I think we got everything.
Yeah. So a great week to be a theme park fan. So happy Theme Park Thursday, everyone. Until next time, she's Jen and I'm Frank. Bye-bye.
Deuces. For your one-stop shop for all things Dillos, visit DillosDiz.com. Follow us on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at DillosDiz. Don't forget to join our Facebook group at Dillo's Diz Community Core. We have plenty to see over at youtube.com/DillosDiz. Remember to hit that subscribe button. We'd love to have you check into DillosDizResort.com with tiers starting as low as $1. Theme Park Thursday with Dillo's Diz featuring Frank Cardillo and Jen Cardillo Snyder.